My name is Liv Haselbach, and I'm a chair and professor in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering here at Lamar University. So you might say, well, what is a BS in civil engineering? So what is a civil and environmental engineer? So civil and environmental engineering deals with the built world around you. Your drinking water, your clean waterways, your beaches and air, all your structures like for bridges, buildings, dams, and other parts of the built infrastructure, the roadways and the railways and the marine highways, resource conservation, soil stabilization, and then my specialty, sustainable and resilient infrastructure. Basically, we build the world. Within civil engineering, we have a lot of sub-disciplines like structural engineering, geotechnical, transportation, water resources, environmental, and even construction engineering. And in our degree plan, we teach a lot of the skills from math, engineering, management, and design that they can use to solve complex problems in the built world around you and the services you use. So things like waste control, stormwater management, transportation systems, and clean water and air. So where do civil and environmental engineers work? Well, many of the Lamar University grads find employment in consulting or construction firms. Many work in the public sector, hence the term civil in the name. And civil is like the oldest engineering, that and military engineering. You know, one did weapons, one did the roads. Such as for the federal government, like the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers or the Environmental Protection Agency. Some work for state agencies like the Texas Department of Transportation or Commission on Environmental Quality. Some work for local cities, counties, and towns in the public works departments. They're the ones who provide you with your water and sewer and roadways, etc. And all major corporations need some civil and environmental engineers for their environmental and infrastructure needs. The median pay is in the mid to upper 80s, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And just so you know, the Lamar College of Engineering ranks #5 return on investment according to pay scale, which is what you pay for tuition and going there versus what you could earn over the next 20 years. So why Lamar Civil and Environmental Engineering? Well, we have active student organizations. This is them at a competition up at A&M. There's faculty in many areas: materials and structures, environmental sustainability like me, water resources, geotechnical, transportation. And we do have great opportunities to stay for about a year more and earn a master's degree, focusing either in civil engineering or in environmental engineering. And we have scholarships available for qualified students. So most graduates participate in internships prior to graduation, and you'll see when I show you our program of study how we develop some skill sets early on so that even after your sophomore year, many people are interning in the summer or working part-time. There's a high demand for our graduates, and as you can see in this picture here, many students also help faculty with research activities. So what's our program look like? Well, when you're ready for Calculus 1, if you're ready to get in the program, then we starting in your freshman fall year, we bring you into our department in Intro to Civil Engineering, along with the math, general studies, and sciences that you'll be taking the first year. And in the spring of that year, we bring you into our CAD Introduction to Surveying class to give you some technical skills in order to work part-time for internships. Our second year, again, has a lot of the basics with the physics and all, but we bring you into our gateway course with just statics. It's sort of like forces, you know, and the mechanics of solids is how forces bend things. But we also now offer Intro to Environmental Engineering early on to keep you really involved with our very involved students all the way through from freshman year to senior. So then, in our third year, we get into the detailed different discipline courses: structures, fluids, transportation, materials, hydrology, water and wastewater treatment, geotechnical, to give you the background in order to get into your senior year. And in the senior year, then it's design classes. We have a full year of senior design, but the fall is conceptual, the spring is detailed, so you don't have to do it continuously. You can be in a conceptual group in the fall and a different group in the spring for detailed design. We have foundation engineering, reinforced concrete steel, and then of course, hydraulics engineering too, and then of course some electives where you can go much deeper into the discipline of your choice. And so with that, I will stop sharing and hand it over to Michelle Falcon, who's the alumnus from Lamar University. Welcome, Michelle.
Welcome, Liv. I mean, thank you. Thank you to you, and thank you to Lamar for letting me participate in this opportunity. This is really cool. This is a really cool session. So I'm a professional civil engineer with over 30 years of experience. I graduated from Lamar with a bachelor's and a master's degree in civil engineering. I practice as a consulting engineer in two main areas, one as a general civil and in general civil area, and one in, I do some work in the environmental engineering field. So currently on the general civil side, I work for a small city in our area as their city engineer, doing planning, design, construction management, and other activities having to do mainly with road and drainage projects. So I kind of like to tell people I'm a dirt and ditches engineer. So I really like drainage projects and trying to make sure we can keep houses from getting flooded and things like that. So, and then I also consult with them regarding development and floodplain issues, and I help them with grant applications, trying to get money for projects and things like that. On the environmental engineering side, I work for several of the industrial facilities in our area on environmental issues having to do with clean water permitting strategies and developing permit applications for their wastewaters. During my career, I've primarily worked for consulting firms, but I've also worked for the State Environmental Commission, and I also worked for the City of Beaumont for a little while, but currently I work for myself. I work with mayors and city managers and department supervisors, county leaders, contractors, state and federal regulatory folks, and I also do some work with other engineers. So I do a lot of work to plan projects, to obtain approvals for projects, to design and implement those projects. I work to pull together teams of surveyors, drafters, and environmental specialists to work on all these projects. During a daily routine, I may talk with drafters and surveyors who are collecting information for my projects. I may talk with clients about schedules, budgets, and project design issues. I will work on road and drainage project designs. I may spend time researching materials such as what is the best road-based material for a specific application, or figuring out what kind of pipe or valves is best for a specific application. I may correspond with contractors on construction problems that may arise and solutions to those problems. There are very few projects that anybody does that don't wind up with some kind of a specific design issue or something that pops up during construction. So there's always that to work through. I work with teams on water permitting issues for the petrochemical clients, and then on the business side, since I'm you know, kind of my own owner, I write proposals so that I can make sure that I have work in the future, and then I have to manage my business.
So Michelle, what's the job market like?
Well, currently the job market for civil engineers is still very, very good. Every engineer designer that I know is still working, and some have way more than they can do. Our plates are full. I've canvassed some of the local firms and agencies. Everybody is still looking for new talent. I talked with someone at the Corps of Engineers, they're still hiring. I talked to TxDOT, they're still hiring. So we're so along the Gulf Coast, The storms and the resulting flooding over the past 2 to 3 years have precipitated an enormous amount of work for civil engineers. There are federal and state funded billion-dollar levee and diversion projects and other large-scale flood prevention projects that are in the initial phases of design. But the design and construction will take years to complete. So again, there is work for civil engineers. Additionally, there are loads of smaller funded flood prevention and flood repair projects that a lot of the civils are working on. In some of the areas, there appears, however, to be a slowdown right now, notably the petrochemical industry due to the price of oil, and commercial and residential design projects due to the economic downturn. However, the amount of public infrastructure that everybody's working on right now is going to last way beyond the current issues and will be around for years to come. So everything is cyclical. So once we get past the current issues, the petrochemical and the commercial and residential development should come bounding right back. We have to remember there is always a need for upgrading water systems, sewage treatment systems, bridge construction, flood prevention projects. So again, the outlook, I really feel like the outlook for the civil engineering profession is very, very good.
But Michelle, but why Lamar University?
Well, so Lamar is the place that put me on this highly rewarding path. Additionally, class sizes at Lamar are smaller than other schools, so there's always a lot of opportunity for individualized assistance, and the student camaraderie was and always is still very, very special. Dr. Liv and her staff are always striving to keep up to date with equipment and knowledge to handle and teach to the trending issues. Lamar University has updated many of their facilities over the past few years, and they are very, very impressive. One very, very special thing about attending Lamar is that as civil engineering students at Lamar, you automatically become a member of the local engineering community. The local chapter of the American Society of Civil Engineers, in conjunction with Lamar, hosts several activities that the students participate in. We have a student welcome back party in the fall on campus. We jointly sponsor football tailgate parties. We do student meet and greets where students and professional engineers get to mingle and ask questions and get to know each other. The students also put on a golf tournament in the spring for a fundraiser, and the local engineers all participate. There's also other fundraisers during the year that the students organize that are attended by professionals. We have a crawfish bowl in the spring. We have a beach party in the summer. And we have, the local professional engineers, we have to thank Dr. Lee for that, as she is a big proponent of students meeting and associating with professional engineers. So, it makes a great partnership with the students and our local professionals. I would highly recommend Lamar University to anyone considering civil engineering as a career path.
Thank you, Michelle. So are there any questions?
Yes, if anybody has any questions, feel free to type them and we can address those questions. One thing that I would ask you to talk about is undergraduate research and what involvement your undergraduates are allowed to have and what kind of projects they might get to work on.
So the picture that you saw in that was Dr. Zhao and Dr. Qian. They have some projects on erosion from those huge ships coming in. They make these wakes that eroded right where a highway was, and we're on a boat ride there to take measurements of how much was eroding away. And so you could see the two students that went along with it. A lot of the students help along with these projects with graduate students. Like Some of them assist in my research, which is pervious concrete, which is a pavement that the water goes through to reduce flooding. And with it, we usually have 1 or 2 undergrads helping to make it, happen to run the experiments, a few hours a week kind of things. And then there's also opportunities in the summer with some of the campus-wide research things. And I know Dr. Tanesh, the last 2 summers has had, if 1 or 2 undergrads do summer work all summer with him, sponsored by our undergraduate research office.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the jobs that your graduates often graduate into? What are some common either places or types of things that they're doing?
Michelle, you know a lot of the Lamar grads of where they're working.
Well, they're like the city of Beaumont has probably 3 Lamar grads working there right now. There's a Lamar grad that is the city engineer for the city of Beaumont. You have Lamar grads that are working in many of the consulting firms in town. As a matter of fact, many of the consulting firms have as their presidents and owners Lamar grads. So and they are always looking for, again, for good talent. One of the firms in town I think they've just hired a couple of interns for the summer, and they also have, I think they've got a recent grad working for them that was an intern prior to that. They've got another recent grad that they have just hired. So then there's industrial facilities that have some of our Lamar grads. The Corps of Engineers, one of our Lamar grads, not this past year, but year before last, went to Galveston to work for the Corps of Engineers. They're all over.
Right, I know right now, for an example, one of our upcoming juniors has an internship this summer with Entergy. One of our graduates that opted to stay for the additional year for his master's degrees has a job with a small federal energy agency up in the Dakotas. So the jobs are local, the jobs are statewide, a lot work in the Houston area and throughout Texas, but there's jobs also within the whole country for them to go to.
And I'll just jump in since this is something I know a little bit about, but just for our viewers who may not know exactly what the co-op and internship program is, Lamar has a program across all of our departments, but it's basically to help place students in co-ops and internships during their years in working on their undergraduate degree. You can either work a summer or a long semester. You get course credit for it. A lot of times, usually you're getting paid for it as well. And we really try to maintain those connections with all of our employers so that they're looking to us to provide those internships for them. And then it's wonderful for our students to get that job experience before they graduate. And students who participate in those programs have an almost 100% job placement rate after they graduate because they already have that experience.
Yeah, and in civil engineering, we're a little bit lucky that in addition to that, a lot of our students work part-time in the local firms, and they come to us seeking them. There's usually a lot of requests for Lamar students to help.
Yes, I get emails every day about looking for internships for intern students. So, well, is there anything else you wanted to mention? I know another thing that y'all kind of touched on this, but one thing that I know is really special about civil engineering is that you do have that kind of thriving American Society of Civil Engineering group. Y'all are always out doing fun things. It seems like. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on about that?
Yeah, so in addition to American Society of Civil Engineers, there's a whole bunch of other societies that our students become involved with when they're interested. There's There's associations for public works. There's a lot of water resource associations in all in the country, and they're very active, and they like students coming and participating and getting to know them for future opportunities. I also wanted to say that, as I said, we do have some really good scholarship opportunities if you want to do the 4+1 option, where your electives, your senior year, they can, if you take the graduate level of them, they can dual count for your undergraduate degree and your graduate degree, which facilitates getting out in just 12 months. So civil and environmental engineering, the preferred final degree is a master's from employers. So if you stay the extra year, you usually start at a higher pay, because that's when you can get really into the technical details that you want, or add on some management portions for it. And our master's program is very flexible. Like, for instance, our environmental master's, you take at least 5 more environmental courses, but if you're more interested in management, you can add on there. If you're more interested in sciences, you can add on there. If you're more interested in water resources, you can add there. And we have that kind of flexibility in our civil engineering master's also.
Okay, we have a question. What is the classroom environment like? I guess thinking of a freshman coming in.
So we call them the red rooms. We have two main classrooms for our department where our civil engineering courses are taught, with a few exceptions, such as the statics class, which is a little larger, and we go to a larger classroom. The one classroom is 38 maximum seating, the other one is 32. So you can see that our maximum class size is somewhere around 30 for our main courses, and we like to keep it that way because the intimacy of our students and the fact that they really know the professors. And me as chair, I teach environmental engineering so that I can get to know the sophomores and juniors, and they all know they can knock on my door. So it's not just the classroom setting. We also provide a lot of other resources for them: an office for American Society of Civil Engineers, a space in our labs for them to build canoes or other projects if they want to go to the competitions. And they're very active in that. We also have an honor society that they can be active in. And in the honor society, they tend to help with tutoring. We also have started some initiatives recently in some of our gateway classes of having weekly tutoring with our grad students sitting there helping, in addition to tutoring that's typical at a university.
What if I'm not sure which department or which field of engineering I'm interested in? Do you have any advice for how to go about trying to decide?
Talk to the students. That's my main thing. Talk to the students, see what they're doing. You know, there's some courses that you're going to take no matter what engineering you're in, but the engineering that's closest to civil for the first 2 years is mechanical engineering, because we all deal with forces and water flow or fluids flow. So there's a lot of similar courses, and it's after your sophomore year, there aren't too many courses that would need to be taken up if you transfer. But that's one of the reasons we have those courses in the freshman year, so the students can try it out before they get too far along. But as Michelle says, we have lots of the younger students very active, and they meet up with everybody else and help them out. And you're free to do that in any department in the college.
This is our contact information. If you have any questions or just would like to reach back out to us and kind of get involved, that is the contact for me and also Dr. Haselbach. And if you have, again, any just general admissions questions, you can see at the bottom we have the address. It's lamar.edu/admissions/find-your-admission-counselor. And you can go there, and they'll hook you up with an admissions counselor who can kind of walk you through all the steps to getting admitted to Lamar. And so I just want to say thank you so much to Dr. Haselbach and Ms. Falcon for being with us today. Y'all gave us some really good information about civil and environmental engineering. If anybody would to engage with any future sessions, you can visit lamar.edu/visit. We do have a couple of upcoming sessions for engineering. And if you want to send your email in the chat, if you would like us to reach back out to you, we'd be happy to do that. If you're not comfortable with everybody, sharing it with everybody, you can send it to the name Lamar University, and that's a private chat. And with that,
So,
yes.
I just wanted to remind everybody that civil and environmental engineers, we build the world. So welcome and thank you all.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.